All right, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Akeem, and welcome to the Pro Football Exclusive NFL blog. Here to talk about today's Senior Bowl matchup between the North Senior All-Stars against the South Senior All-Stars. I need to talk about all the top prospects that you need to watch for both these teams. Starting with the North squad, they have a good defensive end in Vinny Curry, who made 6 All-American teams this season, and he was the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year. He's one of the top defensive ends coming into this season's NFL draft. And they also have 2 great running backs on the offensive side for the North squad with Chris Polk and Doug Martin. Chris Polk's from the Washington Huskies, and he had a great year as their top running back and their top leading rusher, but he also improved as a receiving running back. 322 yards receiving this season to go along with 1,488 yards rushing this year, averaging over 5 yards per carry, and he's one of the top 5 backs coming into this year's NFL draft. And also another top 5 back, in my opinion, is Doug Martin from the Boise State Broncos. Now, he did not do so well productivity compared to last season, and this year he had 4.9 yards per carry to go along with 1,200 yards, but he still has the great measurables to become a good running back in the NFL at 5'9", 215 pounds. I think he could be a good bulky back, and I think he could be a hard a tough back in the NFL, a good third down back, and maybe a starter in the future if he just becomes a little bit more healthy and gains a little bit more durable. I think he has the potential to become a good, productive running back in the NFL. Now, mentioning all these top prospects for the North squad, I have a sleeper prospect that you need to look at in this matchup. Marvin McNutt of the Iowa Hawkeyes. He had a great year leading the Big Ten in receiving, and he didn't get that much notoriety, not too much of a buzz coming into this season, with B.J. Cunningham, Keshawn Martin from Michigan State, Jeremy Ebert from Northwestern, and Derek Moy from Penn State. I believe that all of these players had more buzz than Marvin McNutt, but he still had a great productive year, over 1,300 yards receiving, leading the Big Ten. And I think he has a good size to become a good receiver in the NFL at 6'2", 216 pounds. One thing he really needs to work on is his route running ability and trying to separate himself from the defenders in order for him to get more open in the NFL. Most of his catches this season were close, where he was really close in to defenders, and he had to outplay the ball over the defensive backs because of his size, and he used his size as an advantage. But in the NFL, it's going to be a lot tougher, so he has to work on separating himself. But I think he could develop to become a good number 2 receiver in the NFL. He had a great year and a quiet year. He's a good leader for the Iowa Hawkeyes, one of the leaders of the captains of that team, and I think he could produce well and bring his mind and his skills and intelligence to the NFL, and I think he could be a number 2 receiver for any team in the league. Now, going to the South team, they obviously have the top defensive players in the Senior Bowl matchup, and I think they have a lot more talent overall, especially on the defensive side. They have Courtney Upshaw from Alabama, who is arguably the top linebacking prospect coming into the NFL. He's even higher than his teammate Dante Hightower. And this week in Senior Bowl practices, he dominated in the scrimmages as well as one-on-one matchups against offensive linemen. He pretty much just bullied out everybody throughout this week. Also, Quentin Couples from UNC, North Carolina Tar Heels. He's a first-round projected defensive end, and I think a lot of people think he's going to make it in the top 10 this season in the NFL draft. And also another defensive end, Melvin Ingram from South Carolina. Him, just like Courtney Upshaw, had a great week practicing, and they pretty much penetrated the line of scrimmage every down during the scrimmage, and I think Melvin Ingram could be a top 20 pick in this year's NFL draft. Sticking in the defense, they have great defensive backs, and Dwight Bentley from Louisiana Lafayette. He had a great year, especially in that bowl matchup. And also Janoris Jenkins, remember him? He's from North Alabama, but he originally transferred from Florida, and he had a great week practicing against the receivers Chris Rainey and Joe Adams for that senior team, for the South team, and I think he could become a good defensive back in the NFL, maybe a 3rd round pick this season. Now, heading to the offensive side, they have a great quarterback in Brandon Weeden, who had a productive season this year. He has a big arm, but one thing that a lot of people are concerned about is his age. He's 28 years old, and he's going to turn 29 coming into this season in the NFL. Now, a lot of teams and coaches are worried about if it's going to take him a couple years to develop to become a good quarterback. And if he does develop to become a good quarterback, he will be in his 30s. So a lot of coaches are worried about that. But I still think he's a good shot of picking him for any team in the NFL. I'm sticking with the offense. Lennon Career from Louisiana Tech. He actually came out of the East-West Shrine game as the offensive MVP of that matchup. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this kid. He had a great productive year, and he had a great matchup in that East-West Shrine game, obviously winning the MVP trophy, and he's looking to do the same in the Senior Bowl. Now, a player whose stock dropped, just like Doug Martin, is Jeff Fuller from Texas A&M. He was a first-round draft selection and projected first-round draft projection last season in the NFL draft, but he decided to come back for his senior year, and his stock dropped this season. Now, with his size, 220 pounds at 6'4", he should be bullying the shorter, smaller defenders that he has in front of him, but he did not use his power and his size as an advantage this season. He pretty much acted more like a wuss in these games this season compared to last year. Last year, he was a beast, but this year, he just didn't step up and use his size. Now, a player that you need to watch in this matchup for the South team, a sleeper for you guys, is Philip Blank from Baylor. He's a good offensive lineman, 312 pounds, and I think he had a great practice this week playing against the defensive lineman. I think he was the best blocker in those one-on-one matchups against Upshaw and Melvin Ingram, and I think he can become a good offensive lineman for any team in the NFL, just like Jason Smith, who was the second overall pick coming into the NFL a couple years back for the St. Louis Rams. Now, he is hurt right now, but I think Philip Blank could boost up his stock based on this matchup. And another player that you might want to look at is Jay Hayward from Florida. He had a great week one-on-one matchups and for the Senior Bowl matchup, and I think this is going to be a great game. Now, I normally don't give a prediction of who's going to win this game. It's really all about the players individually and see how well they could develop coming in using the NFL rules in this Senior Bowl matchup, and see the beginning process coming into the NFL draft, going into the NFL Combine. They're all individual workouts, and this is just the beginning stages headed into the NFL draft. Now, I cannot wait to see what happens. I think this is going to be an exciting matchup, and this is going to be more time for me to analyze this game. Now, the next time I'm going to catch you guys is a little bit later on. We're heading towards the NFL draft. I need to give you my rankings for all the top positions in the NFL. Thank you for watching this blog from Pro Football Exclusive. I'm your man, Akeem McCall. Be easy.